So when are we starting, Gerry? I feel like I've missed something.
What the fuck is this?
This is how it is today. This is how it is today on Pop Culture Mindset. This is how it is. This is how it is. Today, on Pop Culture Mindset. Today, on Pop Culture Mindset.
It's Saturday. Tom's late. Not sure. I haven't gotten any messages from him, so I don't know what's up. Hopefully he'll be here soon. Probably over there wrapping up with Salty.
No, they wrapped an hour ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'll message him.
They usually do 2 hours. And they start at noon.
Hopefully no one's got the back of his favor head up against the wall, asking if his dues have been paid.
Because you know what old Jack Burton says?
Who?
Jack Burton. Me!
It's Christopher Moonlight. Me.
Old Jack Burton says, what the hell?
Grace,
Yes, sir.
you know Ben is in the chat. We have ladies in the chat.
Well, I started off with the lift, but I'll do it again.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, for the ladies.
So you got to watch out, guys. We were talking about dangerous gases. You got to watch out for that dihydrogen monoxide.
I sprayed after I left the bathroom. What a way to start a show.
Darn
Gary's
near a
weird.
universal solvent, Gerry.
Yes.
Oh, wait, we're on right now?
It's in everything. It's dangerous. It's in everything.
Yes, it is. And
Whatever you
thought
do,
seed
don't
oils
breathe
were
it.
bad.
It'll kill you if you breathe it.
Yep, it will.
So
I drink
anyway,
it
it's
for breakfast.
Saturday. It's Saturday. You ain't got a job. I'm gonna get you so high.
All in the
I'm sorry.
reflexes.
I'm stealing a line from Friday. I shouldn't do that on a Saturday.
You ain't got
so-
shit to do.
Yeah, that's right. Except for talk about Big Trouble in Little China. My number 5 favorite films of all time. It's got just to start it off. John Carpenter is a huge fan of John Wayne and John Ford as a filmmaker, and so much of that classic John Ford shit is in his movies. All the way back to Assault on Precinct 13. But what I loved is that he actually managed to make 2 films with Kurt Russell, where Kurt Russell is basically doing an impression of great Western actors. Clint Eastwood with Escape from New York, and John Wayne with Big Trouble in Little China. And he really is. It's, if you pay attention to his mannerisms, the way he walks and everything, he's doing a version of John Wayne.
Well,
And,
pretty much to a T.
Even he'll even do this, the way he talks. It's funny. I love it.
He actually he did an interview that I saw on the extras of my DVD version of this, where Kurt Russell himself said that one of his models for Jack Burton was John Wayne, but the other was Jack Nicholson, the wisecrack the sarcastic wise ass.
Ah,
So he was actually building when he said I clicked on the character the minute I read it, and he started to think of it as a cross between John Wayne's swagger and heroism and self-regard and Jack Nicholson's sarcasm.
and Jack Nicholson's cynicism, sarcasm,
Yes,
and cynicism.
exactly. But he figured. I mean, he came very quickly to the conclusion, and I sent you guys the little cartoon image from the cartoon, the Warner Brothers cartoon this movie made me think of the very first time I saw it, which is called Drip Along Daffy. And Daffy is supposed to be the hero. He's got the big white horse and the fancy outfit, and Porky's behind him on a little burro. And he's going to go into this town and clean up this one-horse town. And he gets his ass handed to him all the way through the cartoon. And it's Porky that solves the problem, becomes the hero at the end of the day. So they make Daffy the town janitor. They put him in the Department of Sanitation, and he says, "I told you I'd clean up this one-horse town," trying to save face. And Porky, who's now the sheriff, is leaning against the wall of the jail, says, "Good thing for him, it is a one-horse town." And that was to me, that was Jack Burton's character, and Kurt Russell saw it instantly. He said, you could swap these two characters, Jack and the little Chinese guy. And he started to talk with Carpenter, and there's more to come. But that's a really interesting interview. If you've never seen it, it's on since Tom's not here, I can actually say this name without having him explode on screen. It's the Shout Factory Collector's Edition.
No.
Big Trouble in Little China. And they have a whole second DVD of extras, and one of them's interviews with the actors. And the interview with Kurt I found fascinating. It was actually very conscious for him. This character evolved as they made the film.
I love this character of Jack Burton, and one of the things that I always held him in a little higher regard than anyone else, because he's comes across as the fool, but he is completely, even though he puts on airs, he's completely loyal to his friends, and he has very strong values of doing the right thing. He''ll complain about it the whole way. He'll act like
he's
that.
whiny.
Yeah, I just want my truck. But he is a hero, and ultimately he is the one that, spoiler alert, ends up killing David Lopan. And also he's surrounded by people that treat him kind of like he's a fool. Like, there's the scene where he doesn't want to drink the potion from the 6 demon bag. Exactly. And he kind of, his friend gives him a patriotic speech because he knows it'll motivate him. But ultimately it's the values behind that speech that make him the hero. And, as much as people act like he didn't do anything, at the same time, they really couldn't have done it without him. These harebrained schemes of pretending to be phone repairmen and going in, or him being Henry Swanson's my name and adventure's my game. He's the one that goes in wholeheartedly on everything. So I really see him as a hero. And despite being a fish out of water.
About, by the way, Chris, is that it's an old one. It's great. It's here's to the Army and the Navy and the battles they have won. Here's to America's colors, the colors that never run. May the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Exactly.
It's a great saying.
Oh yeah. So I love Jack Burton. All the more is the fact that a lot of people around him, especially foreigners, think he's a fool, but really he's the heart of what makes America so great. God bless him.
Yes. Kurt Russell's comment was very much like yours, except the only thing that holds Jack Burton back from being the hero is that he's always one step behind until the very end of the movie that you already spoiled and gave away.
It's been out for a while.
No, I know.
Yeah,
we don't know about spoilers on movies that are older than my underwear.
But not by much, right?
Well, I'll take the fifth on that. But yeah, I love the character. This character is, I mean, one of the things, I mean, the other thing obviously is I can only think of one other movie that I think is as quotable as this one, as everybody's been putting quotes in the chat. I put one in. The Princess Bride's about the only other movie I can think of that has so many phrases that have entered the lexicon, that have entered pop culture.
Army of
This one-
Darkness.
Maybe.
I will
But I
date
mean-
myself. Maybe it doesn't apply now, but Young Frankenstein.
Oh, yes.
Thought was an infinitely quotable movie and one of my
Taffeta,
favorites.
darling.
Taffeta, sweetheart.
Taffeta, sweetheart. Yes, yes.
No, the dress is taffeta. It wrinkles so easy.
Yes. Yeah, what knockers? Thank you, doctor. Yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, but that's
Frau
not, that's
Blucher.
Yeah.
It's interesting
well, that's
for
Mel
John
Brooks.
Wayne as an influence as well, because originally it was in the Old West, and then they put it into the modern day when the one guy rewrote it.
Yeah, I think it works really well as a just, I don't know, I Californian, go back and forth from Southern California up to San Francisco. When you go to San Francisco, you visit Chinatown. That's like, know, I don't know what it's like these days, but yeah, it just, and it was kind of an unexpected movie. I didn't see it in the theater. Came on,
Nobody
I think,
did.
HBO.
Nobody saw it in the theater.
I remember the first time I saw it. I can't remember where we were, but we were traveling. I was traveling with my parents, and the hotel had HBO, and it came on, and my dad and I watched it, and we were both like, "Wow, that was really good." We just had no idea what to expect, and of course, I, being a little kid at the time, loved the kung fu and the the magical elements, and the special effects were amazing. By the way, I have to mention, special effects were by Steve Johnson, who I've interviewed on my own channel. And he just actually announced today, he said, don't smoke, I have cancer. Tongue cancer. They had to remove I think he said a third of his tongue. So I hope
Oh man,
that procedure went
sucks.
well. But he has a channel. He hasn't posted anything to it in probably near a decade, but called Rubber Rules, and amazing stuff about his special effects from shows like Species, Fright Night, and of course Big Trouble in Little China. And he's no holds bar. That guy will not hold back from telling a Hollywood story that'll get him in trouble. So, hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Hi,
Hey, Tom.
how's everybody doing?
We're
we
in
are
big
doing
trouble.
okay.
I'm
China
fine.
is
So
How
yeah,
are you?
while Tom is
Biden.
here,
Hey,
let me
Tom.
go ahead and get into the chat here, because we have a lot of people that have commented. First in
Nice.
the chat, of course, is our good friend Penny. Christian Delorme is here with the Vinyl Revival. Snortopupus is here. Hello, Snort. Let's see. Anybody else jumping in here other than people that are in the fucking panel?
Yes.
Andy is here. Slasher Fred is here. Let's see. Read by
Reed.
Nature is here. Jason Knight, a good friend of mine here from Springfield, Missouri. Let's see. Dragon Ruse is here. Eastland Burkholder is here. Let's see. Anybody else jumping in? Oh, JPRPH1 is here. Man Squatch is here. Anybody else here, Martin? I miss?
Nope.
I think I got
We're,
everybody.
we're fine.
And,
yes.
In case he either pops in later or listens to the recording after the show's over, I did send a link to Steve Johnson, who did all the special effects for Big Trouble in Little China. And get well soon. We love you. So
Is he doing okay? I mean, is he able to speak? What's going on?
I don't know. This is actually this morning, I logged in and saw on his social media, he just said, don't smoke, kids, I have cancer. And then he explained the thing about his tongue, and that's about it. Really awesome guy. Like I said, he just does not hold back. He talks about working with James Cameron on The Abyss and all the trouble he was in there. I think he did Spider-Man 2, and then he got a job, and he just kind of I don't know exactly what you would call it, but he just walked out on his studio and went down to Mexico and did a bunch of cocaine and hung out with hookers for a while before he came back to do special effects again. He does not hold back about anything. He
sounds like a typical Thursday for Tom.
I don't do that much coke. Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. That's really weird because, yeah, he was all over the place and then all of a sudden just, yeah.
He disappeared. I think he said he got like, I don't know, because he was making millions of dollars, but the money was flying out the door as quickly as it was coming in because that's how a lot of special effects shops were. And I think he got like 3 different contracts in one day. And he's like, but I'm not doing this. Like he just decided something snapped. He rode into Mexico, spent a bunch of time there, but he has stories about doing makeup for Michael Jackson, like the disguises. And Michael Jackson eventually fired him because according to Steve, Michael said, he makes me feel ill at ease. And because he would always smoke, this is a story he told at a convention. He says, yeah, I'd always smoke. And Michael would be like, why do you always smoke those things? They're going to kill you. And he goes, well, look who's dead now. That's Steve Johnson. But he's a great guy. He's a lovely guy. You know, he's definitely an off the wall character, but he's aware of it and he leans into it, which makes him so much fun.
Any relation to Joe?
To Joe Johnson?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very uncommon name, so probably, you know.
I'm just curious because he was, of course, involved in production, pre-production, and then eventually became a director.
Yeah, I honestly don't think so.
Here.
Steve is from Texas. He's from Austin, I believe. And he was he got his start by writing to Rick Baker when he was like 18, 19 years old. Because, he'd be read the monster magazines. He found Rick Baker's address and he would send him like photographs of the stuff he was trying to do. And then Rick brought him in when they did American Werewolf in London. So he worked on that. And then right after that, Steve got Ghostbusters and The Howling. Because they offered The Howling to Rick Baker, and Rick Baker's like, I just did a werewolf movie. I'm not doing another one.
Well, he was hired. But when Landis got greenlit for American Werewolf in London, he had to leave The Howling. And he put, what's his name, Bottin in charge. And which is why there are certain things, there are certain similarities with some of the things that were done production, special effects wise. And the reason was because there was that bit of layover of what Rick had already established to use in the film, bladders, all that shit.
That's right.
Including that's the stretching of the snout. The way they stretch the snout is exactly the same way Baker did it in American Werewolf in London.
And that's something that makes sense because first of all, Bottin is so good with that sort of thing. But Steve Johnson was talking about how he was sculpting with Bottin one night, and he said Bottin was a genius. Like he's just doing this amazing werewolf sculpt, and then he's looking at it and he walks away, and he's like, "I'm still working on my sculpt." And then suddenly I turn around, and I think Bottin was there with like a sledgehammer, and he's like, "Move out of the way." And he's like, "What?" And he said Bottin just went at this thing with a sledgehammer. He said, "What are you doing? That was brilliant." He's like, but I can do better. And that was just kind of like Bottin's thing. And he said there were other people on that job that were sculpting different werewolves going like, this is good enough. And Bottin was like not having it. I think that guy got fired. I don't know. Again, Steve, if you're listening at any time, please forgive me if I'm getting these stories wrong. But I've heard so many of them. And I just
make him mad enough that he'll join the show just to correct you.
Hey, if he wants to join the show, I'm sure, he would. Boy, you guys would love him. He's really fun to interview. And
if he's an effects guy, I'm going to love him. That's
despite all the zaniness, and like I said, he's really raw. He even did his video of him doing the same blackface as Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder, because they kind of look similar.
Oh my God!
So, you know, but he is he's a very intelligent guy, wonderful to interview, passionate to this day about special effects. So again, if he happens to be listening, we love you. God bless you. You know, like, get well, because we want more stories. And we want to see you, well, become one of those old men that, what do you attribute to that? Like, you know, what Dick Smith did, you know, 120 years old, smoking cigarettes. He's probably quit by now. Anyway, let's go on to Big Trouble in Little China, because we love this movie. This movie,
You guys haven't even started the movie.
Start the movie. Where's the THX?
I don't have all day.
Guys, are you on this show for the first time? We always talk for 20 minutes before we start the slideshow. It's the warm-up.
I was still late, and the movie still hasn't started. It's like going to the freaking theater now.
It is.
We wanted to give you the experience, Tom. We're sorry.
Let's go back to cartoons at the beginning.
Down in front.
I wouldn't have an issue with that.
I'm sure you wouldn't.
So this opening scene was a reshoot, correct?
It was
No, it wasn't a
on.
reshoot.
Yeah.
It was tacked on. It was shot later because
Well, that would be a reshoot, Gerry.
No, not a reshoot. It was an add-on. Reshooting means it was shot previously and they had to reshoot it.
This was a studio
not
note,
always.
though, right?
I'm
The
being
studio
literal.
wanted this.
Yeah, this was a tack on because they were kind of confused when they did the studio watch. They said, "Well, I think we need a scene that explains it." So, you know, Carpenter went and shot this.
And as soon as the first time I saw it as a kid, as soon as he put his hands up and that lightning shot between his hands, I was like, "Ooh, this is going to be good."
Oh, I was in. Yeah.
Yep.
And by the way, Red Shirt, I saw this in the theater.
Oh, you and
Nice.
3 other people.
I love.
I want
this
to talk
movie.
about that later. Yeah, I want to talk about that later because Kurt Russell had a few things to say about how this movie came out in theaters and why it did what it did or didn't do what it didn't do.
Yeah, I've seen those as well. Yeah, you're
Well,
right.
a silly thing they did, and I watched a bunch of interviews for this movie because I was interested when they were initially promoting it, and they kept going, "This is like Indiana Jones. This is our version of like Raiders," and like, yeah, that explains why, like, they were basically people were sold the wrong expectations for this movie.
Well, the studio execs, and the head of the studio had different expectations to this movie, and they were very, very disappointed when they saw the end result. And in Kurt Russell's words, he and John Carpenter were sitting in the back of the screening room when the studio execs saw their screening, and the lights came. The movie ended, the lights came up, and the executive said to his yes men sitting around him, "That Jack Burton guy doesn't seem to be very good at what he does." And Russell and Carpenter looked at each other and shrugged and went, "He saw it. He got it." Unfortunately, he saw it. He got it. And that was what doomed the movie. Because he was expecting Jack to be the Indiana Jones hero of this movie. And that's not the character that Kurt Russell and John Carpenter created between them.
Now, a lot of people don't know this. I know people on this panel probably do, is that originally Big Trouble was supposed to be Buckaroo Banzai against the World Crime League. And they were forced to retool it because David, what's his name? David Bagelman? Is that his name? Was busy sabotaging the Buckaroo franchise at the time. And so this was supposed to be that sequel, and it also ended up being a Western at one point, which we brought up earlier, and ended up getting retooled by Carpenter to be a modern Western because it still feels like a Western.
Well, it's also, correct me if you guys tell me if I misread this, but to me, this is also a wonderful parody of Hong Kong wire fu chop sockey movies from the 70s.
Absolutely. This was his kung fu movie. Carpenter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
Carpenter
culture.
was
It's
a big fan. Yeah. of
yeah,
that.
so it's a culture clash. You have the Western hero coming into a Hong Kong wire fu movie and trying to be the hero of it, and it just, of course, that just doesn't work. He doesn't fit. So
Right.
Actually, I'd argue he never even tries to be the hero. The only reason he sticks around is he just wants his money, basically, in his
He
truck.
wants
And
his
his truck
money in his
back.
truck. His
Yes.
money in his truck, and he's like, one of the greatest moments when he's like, "All right, man, I'm done with this shit. I just want my truck. I want to go."
I always felt like, though, and I said this before you came on, Tom, I always felt like deep down he is a loyal friend and he does want to do the right thing. Like a lot of that was just pretense that he was throwing up. At the end, although he does take the money at the end, you earned this. You're right, I did.
Yeah, and he doesn't kiss her goodbye at the end either.
You know what? Because he's Han Solo. This is Star Wars.
And when you're a
Well,
little kid, you don't want to see the kiss scene. You're like, I don't want that. So when he says no, you're
There's
like,
an
yeah.
old saying, "Leave them wanting,"
Yes.
and that's what he was doing
Yeah.
at the end. He was leaving her wanting.
Although
So
Kim Cattrall
I
at that
always
time,
just
I don't
liked
think,
that.
I don't
took an
think I'd
awful
pass
lot.
that.
It took an awful lot of self-control to leave Kim Cattrall wanting back then.
Right.
this is, in many ways, a classic B movie from the 40s, and that's why that's in there. That is a classic trope. The leave them wanting thing, and that's why it's in there. So if you like old movies, you kind of have to bend the knee and go, well, okay. Because I explained that to you before, Anima. That there's a reason it's in there. It's a throwback to the 40s.
I
whole
know,
not
and I
giving her
still
a kiss
don't like
goodbye.
it.
Oh, I have
And-
to read this chat. I have to read this. Shut up, Mr. Button. You were not put on this earth to get it.
You will not put on this earth to get it.
But this is just the first few minutes of this discussion, as far as I'm concerned, is why this movie has stood the test of time, why its audience has just grown and grown and grown. There are so many elements to this. There are so many facets. You can read this movie in 5, 6 different ways,
Yeah.
and it gets better every time you watch it because you see more things. You notice more things. So there's an awful lot going on. This movie rewards watching it more than once, and there aren't that many movies you can say that about.
No, I agree. And by the way, I paused it for a second here because I told Anima this is one of my favorite moments of foreshadowing in a film. This is the bottle scene, and it delivers the line that you will hear at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all in the
The whole reflexes thing.
Yeah.
All in the reflexes.
Fact of the matter, he's been up all night and he's stinking drunk too.
Yeah, they smell bad.
That helped with reflexes, though.
Also, another great one is when he says, "I thought you were going to follow me." He says, "Then I came to my senses."
Yeah.
Great lines in this movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
infinitely quotable. There's pretty much every moment of this movie I can recall and quote. You know what I say when it's Miller time?
Yeah. I like that Kevin Dunn, he didn't know any martial arts, but he had dance in his background. And so he was able to really take to doing the martial arts because of dance, which has been shown time and time again. Actors with a dance background tend to learn martial arts moves.
It's all
Much
just
more
choreography,
easily.
Scary. It's just
It is.
choreography.
It's all in the
Same thing.
reflexes. Yeah.
And the editing. I gotta say though, it's it kind of ruined Prince of Darkness for me because I saw Prince of Darkness obviously after Big Trouble in Little China, and I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
You're expecting them to fly around, kick the shit out of demons, and
Yeah,
Well, it's so
Egg Shen
funny that
versus the
both
anti-god.
films, that are closely related, it's said that they're in the same universe because of the scripting, that Buckaroo and Big Trouble both should have had sequels but never got them.
I can't finish Buckaroo Banzai. The movie bores the hell out of me. I just don't get it.
What?
Okay, you can shut up now.
Yeah, eat shit, Chris.
Your
After the
nerd
movie.
card is now revoked.
Yeah, hand it in.
I put that up there with Hans Zimmer as crap.
Well,
Now, Hans Zimmer does have a background where he did some good scoring, but something happened to him in the late 90s going into the 2000s where he just started writing music where it's just droning on, and it only worked with that Blade Runner 2049 because that's how the soundtrack was supposed to sound.
Oh, speaking of soundtracks, by the way, was it the Big Trouble in Little China song? That's John Carpenter singing, right? I know it's his band.
Yeah, John Carpenter doing the lead vocals along with his co-composer.
I love that
his
song.
name.
The Coupe de Villes is what they call
Yeah,
themselves.
Coupe de Villes is the name of the band. Big Trouble in Little China.
Little China. Well, you can hear the
Nick Castle is on that with him, who of course plays the Shape.
That's
Nice.
Nick Castle?
Yeah, Nick Castle's
No
in there
shit.
too. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I love these.
not in the movie, but in the song. Him and it's
I
Nick
know what you
Castle, him, and I can't remember who the other guy is, but it's another one of their
I
buddies.
thought it was the
Was it Tommy Lee?
co-composer of the.
I think it was Tommy Lee Wallace. I think, if not.
I love these Chinese gang members with their glasses.
I know.
There's actually a deleted scene near the end of it when they get out where they find them again and they actually hit them into the bay.
I have not seen that.
Holy shit! Yep, that's who it is. It's Nick Castle, Tommy Lee Wallace, and John Carpenter.
Miao Yen.
Yeah, green eyes. The
Son
thing that
of
always
a
cracked
bitch
me up is
must
like,
pay.
yeah, but Kim Cattrall's got green eyes in the movie, but she's not Chinese. I thought that was a part of the deal, but I'm like, okay, I'm just going to overlook that being important.
Look, again, Kim Cattrall, you can make some exceptions.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, David Lopan certainly did. Ah, yes, Kim Cattrall.
I love this, though. Son of a bitch must pay.
And that is the line I stole that is in Vindicated Ink. It is in there, but he says motherfucker instead of son of a bitch.
I always love this. Why is it safe for watching Joe Park? Because people are crazy, Jack.
So, by the way, did you get my message, Martin? I sent you privately here in the chat. Because I don't think you have. Yeah.
Egg Shen makes a lot of money driving tour buses. You got to wonder
Now,
if that's
one of the fan theories is that he retired and went to the desert and opened a little store down there that you see in Trimmers. That was a fan theory.
But
it's crap, but it's fun.
In the movie, he says that he's a very rich man. He owns the whole neighborhood. So, I always thought that he was driving that tour bus as just kind of like a front for some shadier dealings.
Shadier dealing, or just got nothing better to do because he's old.
Well, he says the guy says to Jack Burton at one point, the stuff in this warehouse is priceless. So, I think what he's selling is ingredients, very expensive medicinal plants and stuff, and Chinese magic, Chinese medicine. And yeah, there is a lot of money in that. Have you ever priced ginseng recently? You know what that costs per ounce? I'd rather buy a Caspian caviar than ginseng these days.
Oh, God. Could you imagine him going, I need rhino horns? Get them from Africa.
But was it Victor Wong? Yeah, he's always kind of good at playing like straddling the back and forth of kind of that Chinese mystic stereotype, and then turning it around like in The Golden Child when he's messing with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And this is just where it just goes crazy with the kung fu. Again, being a little kid watching this for the first time, and just all these these two factions.
And it's an A movie, 80s movie, because we have Al Lowe here, everyone's favorite terrorist in every single 80s movie.
Yeah, don't panic, Jack. They're good guys. Because Jack has no idea what's going on.
I love Al Lowe, especially when I have a sunburn. I just like that they got the 6-shooters too. He does his little kung fu move and then grabs his guns.
I always love the pointlessness of when the storms show up and then they toss themselves with their knives, do a flip, and then toss the knives.
Yeah, and those are kukris, by the way, the old Gurkha Indian knives.
Yeah.
But I fucking love those things back in the 80s. I mean, he threw pretty much everything that was popular in the 80s in this.
Yeah. Yeah. One of these days I want to get a Gurkha knife. Just put it in a case, put it on a shelf.
When you learn why the blade is bent the way it is, it's really disturbing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
And for those of you that don't know, it was so they could put the blade flush with the neck, and when they would pull it, it would decapitate them for the most part.
They are evil, those
This is
guys.
the way the banana blade bent.
Yep.
And it would go. There's a dude, you're watching an 80s martial arts movie or action film if that dude is in it.
Yes.
Yep.
My favorite, other than this one with him, is Lethal Weapon, because he's the guy torturing him.
Oh, Die Hard, man. One of my favorite bits in Die Hard is when he's behind the counter getting ready with his gun and looks down and he sees that there's candy bars below. And he grabs a candy bar and starts
he
eating
grabs
it.
the candy bar. And it was improvised, as I recall on that too, that he did that.
I just love when Jack Burton sees stuff's about to go down, he just pulls his little knife out of his boot.
Got a little tiny boot
What are you
knife.
gonna do with that?
David Lopan actually said it. He said, "Nice knife. It's a Fairbairn Sykes double-edged dagger, for crying out loud. It's not big, but it's very, very effective." And I'm sure Gerry knows everything about Fairbairn and Sykes.
Yes.
Bruce Fairbairn.
It's a good knife. Goodbye, Mr. Button.
Yes.
Goodbye,
I mean,
Mr.
it's not
Button.
as big as the kukris, no. And let me put it this way: I share one SEAL author's attitude towards knives as fighting weapons. I hate knives. The guy who wins the knife fight goes to the emergency room, and he looks like he lost.
Yeah, it's the first thing we learned in Hand to Hand was that you're going to get cut. Just accept it. There's no way of avoiding it in a knife fight. You're going to get cut. What you do next, though, will mean survival or death.
Right.
Freak out about it and go, "Oh!"
You're done.
Or just keep going.
This movie and especially these characters were a huge influence also on Mortal Kombat, like the hat and
that makes sense because I always wondered why they look so much like that.
I've always wondered how they did these electrical effects because they were beautifully animated.
Hand animated, as I recall, right, Tom?
Didn't they paint them on the film or something like that? I'm trying to remember how.
Yeah,
they did
probably. I'm thinking the technique is probably the same way they created the glow effect in Akira, which is to paint it on, and then I think they re-expose the film while shining a light behind it to give it that kind of light bloom effect.
If Steve Johnson was working on it, it was probably the same effect they used for the light, the light on the proton packs. Which was just flat out animation, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Steve Johnson did any of the optical effects. I think he just
I'm not 100%, but yeah.
I think he strictly does the practical stuff.
Honestly, I know very little about this movie. I know some stuff, but you guys probably know a hell of a lot more than I do.
Well, I'd imagine that with later on the creature with the multiple eyes, they probably handled that very similarly to Slimer, because they handled Slimer as a composite, optically composited puppet with a guy inside it. And it does, I don't know if actually, I think that probably is a full animatronic, that eye creature. I know we're jumping ahead, but
isn't it would be the same way they did the asteroid scene in Empire Strikes Back, where you have the black background and then you just have the element in there, and you basically use the black for the composite. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, that matting technique takes about sandwiching 5 different takes together, and that's motion controlled. So I don't know if they would do that quite in the same way, but yeah, the mat they would do for the ships, they would do like a motion control so that the cutout that they did would always match on every shot. And then they would sandwich it together. And if film shifted at all, the exposure, you get these kind of ugly matte lines, which sometimes you see anyway. But yeah, Steve Johnson did the beast, that weird kind of Chinese monster, hairy beast,
the giant demon. Yeah. And the rumor was that in the sequel, that he was going to be partners with Jack Burton, sort of his Chewbacca.
That would be great.
Oh no, it would not. I'm so glad there was no sequel to this movie. There's a lot of exposition in this movie, and I think again, Jack Burton as a character, kind of he's almost kind of like fulfilling the Hidden Fortress or R2D2 C3PO role, where he's kind of commenting on everything as well. Otherwise, you would just be marred in exposition constantly.
Well, it's one of those things that you're literally, first time watchers, you pretty much kind of are Jack Burton, where it's like all this stuff is going over your head.
Yeah, he's a fish out. He's totally a fish out of water, but he continues to go with it. I love how he's trying to like explain to the insurance company what happened to his truck.
I just love it.
Hey,
like,
isn't
no,
that your truck that you abandoned? Because I didn't abandon that. I'm on the phone with the insurance company. I would have been pissed if somebody said that.
Look, I'm going to tell you a story, and I don't want to hear act of God. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's basically the audience's. To me, he's the audience's entrance into the film, at least for us, an American Western
Greek
audience.
Chorus. Yeah, the Greek chorus. He represents our interests in the story, and of course,
and I got to say, it's an act of gods, plural, not just one act of gods.
Yeah, gods, act of gods.
Yeah.
Kim Cattrall, boy, oh boy, she was a hottie back then, man.
Oh, yes.
Yes, there was a comic, just like with Buckaroo Banzai, they do the comics, but I got to tell you, as a diehard fan of the films, still not the same thing as getting the sequel. Chris doesn't understand, man. We wanted a sequel to this movie, just like we wanted a sequel to that other film that he fucking hates, Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
And the
I also hate Dune Part 1 and 2, by the way. That was absolutely garbage.
On that, we can agree.
Either. I agree wholly. Once the second film came out, it ruined what was brought forth in the first film. So I'm like, yeah, done. No interest in it.
Yeah.
It's like now they're going to do Duke Messiah as a feminist text. And I'm like, you guys can fuck off now.
Yeah. I'm not interested in seeing Zendaya scowl for another 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to have seen a sequel to this, but it would had to have been made within a year of this movie coming out.
And again, I want to point out, though, Red Shirt, this movie was originally the sequel.
No, I know that.
Banzai.
I know that. I know it was.
And then we wanted a sequel from this.
I know. I'm just saying, The Rock has been. Dwayne Johnson has been trying to make a sequel to this for several years.
Yeah,
it's too late. And he belongs nowhere in a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China.
Absolutely not.
Yes, he will be the orange monster.
Unless he's the demon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
the demon.
I love Henry Swanson here. Henry Swanson's my name, and Excitement's my game.
Excitement's
And that is such that is such a callback to the characters, the type of character that Kurt Russell played for Disney way back early in his career.
Absolutely.
That is like a Disney character, and he's like, "Oh, I still have that old costume and glasses from the computer wore tennis shoes. Why don't I wear that to the whorehouse? It'll be a perfect disguise. Nobody will recognize me."
I still love that. She says that with complete sincerity of insincerity. We got one of our best men in there.
Yes.
I just love this. Would that be cash or charge? Cash, I guess. I mean, it's not deductible, is it?
That's actually really good. You almost sounded like Jack Burton there. Oh, we lost Tom.
Yeah. But we gain a John.
Yeah, that's Wolfen.
Hey, John.
Nice to see you, man.
So even though we're not there, I've been dying to play this clip, and I got one from one of the original. This is from the documentary, but it's a clip from the movie, and I just love this moment. And I stole it from that cut for TV, HBO. Here it is.
Follow the leader. 1, 2, 3. We may be trapped.
Sorry, I had my audio set up wrong.
That's okay.
Take your tie off, please. Oh, I know what you mean. Gave it to me. My ex-wife gave it to me. Oh no!
Okay, whenever you do an Asian voice, you just sound like David Lopan, so it sounds creepy when you do it.
Yes, he does.
Mr. Person.
So, question: you think that if they did do a sequel, John Carpenter could play David Lopan now?
I've already made that joke, dude. I made that joke. I took that photo of him from the new thing, and he's sitting there talking. And I took that and I said, it took him over 40 years, but John Carpenter finally accomplished looking exactly like fucking David Lopan. I love this. He punches him and then he smiles at him because he doesn't take damage.
Yeah. I guess I would say the only way they could make a sequel to this and have Jack Burton in it would be to have Kurt Russell's son play Jack Burton in the sequel.
Or just have Jack Burton old. I don't care.
Or have Jack Burton
fucking
old.
love it. You know,
Yeah.
I would love to see Jack Burton like having to fucking figure things out 40 years later. Like, wait, what? What, Martin?
We have $1 silent super chat from Tim. He says nothing.
Yes.
What's up with
Just
that,
like
Tim?
Jack Burton.
Jeff
We've
Raber
rendered-
is here, I see. Have we been starring any of the comments?
Yes.
Outstanding. We got 13. Outstanding. Let's get with some of these right now, real quick. There was a sci-fi series called.
Now, I just want to say really quick, her exposition dump. She goes Lopan, and then she just rattles off like all this stuff about him. It's like the hardest kind of dialogue for an actress to say.
I love exposition like that, though. It's like it's an information dump. There was a sci-fi series called The Chronicle, and there was an episode in which James Hong also played a character named David Lopan. Oh, that's interesting. I don't remember that series.
Oh, yes, I do.
Let's see.
With John Polito.
The most quotable movie of all time. It is right up there. I think the most quotable movie is Tombstone. Another film with Kurt Russell. But it's not his lines. It's Val Kilmer's.
Doc Holliday. Yeah.
See, that's how it is, but that's how it always begins. Oh, yes. Even though that's a tacked on scene shot later, I thought that was a really good intro. It always starts small.
We're not back
James
in,
Hong.
What is it? If we're not back in 2 hours, call the president.
If we're not back by morning, call the president. Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Tom's back.
Yeah, I had to reboot for some reason.
James Hong is great. A quick story about James Hong. I used to I was working when I was doing the Quantum Terror. I hired James Hudnall, who's a comic writer, to be the script consultant, and he worked with James Hong for a little bit, and he'd shown James Hong some of his comics, one of which had a Asian assassin who used acupuncture needles, and he says, when you know it, one day I'm watching I can't remember if it was a TV show or a movie that he was in, and he's got the acupuncture needles. He's like, damn it.
I will tell you, I've met Hong. He's a really sweetheart of a guy. But the funnest thing about him was when he called my home, because I ran Blade Zone back in the day.
Right, yeah.
And he called my house, and I came home from work because I still had my 9 to 5. I come home from work, and I see I've got some messages, so I'm going through them, delete, going through them, delete, going through it, and I hear, "Hello, Gerry. This is James Hong. I only do eyes. Call me." That was what he said in that tone, and it fucking slayed me. I'm like, there were 2 phone messages that got left me that I always wanted to keep and lost with time. Was that one and the one from Bruce Campbell that cracked me up. And fuck, man, that's like something that's worth so much to me now, and I don't have it anymore. But Hong is always funny. He's actually a really nice guy, but he was always fishing for names of people. Who else do you know that does special effects? I'm like, a lot of people. I can give you all their contact info. I don't know if they'd be good what you're looking for, because he was trying to create his own production house back in the late 90s going into 2000. And I don't know if he ever accomplished it or not. But sadly, I lost his number. I asked Gerry, the other guy that runs Blade Zone, he still runs it, if he had his phone number. He doesn't have it either. I'm like, crap. Then you had backdoor job later. Okay, Tim.
No, he gets it.
Video.
The super chat.
Well, in fact, that should be free. The standard reading.
By what name are you known? There are some who call me... No, now go away or I shall taunt you a second time.
The one for his super chat.
Oh, you are so big. Oh, absolutely huge. Gosh, we're all really impressed down here, I can tell you.
And the one for the bridge.
Holy shit. I just heard a symphony of buttholes clenching all at once.
Oh, I love just the use of demons and hells. The hell of the upside down people. Like, what the fuck?
Whoa!
Max Demon? Holy shit, dude.
Indeed.
Wait a minute. What do you want me to do for that $50?
Keep your clothes on. Keep your clothes on.
Do not trip.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Oh my God.
Hey, $50 is
Jesus.
$50.
Wow.
You know what old Jack Burton says at a time like this?
The check is in the mail.
Indeed.
Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
So I'm trying to think I don't have any great videos for this, because that's one deserving here. Oh, I know. This one will be good.
Hey, man, where are you, German?
German? You know, Tom, did you like Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid? Anybody on this panel like that film?
I did.
I haven't. I don't know it.
I've never seen it.
Never saw it.
I love that freaking movie, dude.
Sorry, I have it, but I haven't seen it yet. If I have, it's been years and years and years, and I don't remember.
Oh, it's Steve Martin, came out in the 80s, about 82.
Yeah, I have it on Blu-ray. I just haven't opened it yet.
Oh my God, dude.
That's got one line that I've never forgotten.
Sorry,
I just needed to adjust your breasts.
Yes, it fell all out of whack. No, I love the line, am I your Heinemucker Frau? You are my Heinemucker Frau. Well, what does that mean? It means cleaning woman.
No, it doesn't.
I know it doesn't. It's that mock gibberish German that he would do, Carl Reiner.
Well, read by nature, he had seen it.
Yep.
I love the movie.
It's one of the first times, because I don't remember who was doing the interview. Just quickly, either Reiner, I think it was Reiner, saying he was really trying to help Steve Martin get away from stand up and become a comic actor. But the problem was that Steve Martin would sacrifice a character completely for one funny line. And Reiner said, you'll have a bigger impact as a comic actor if you stick to making the character funny and stop trying to be a stand-up comedian in the middle of the movie. And I think Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid was probably the first time he came close to it. And I think he nailed it in Roxanne.
I was going to bring up
Roxanne is, I love that fucking movie. A lot of people don't know that is another adaptation of the classic Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yes.
Everybody knew that.
No, there are
movie
people,
is that?
I shit you not. There are fucking idiots out there that have no fucking clue.
My favorite Steve Martin performance is Leap of Faith, if you've ever seen that.
Yes, I've seen it.
I want to talk about this scene, though, because this is when we first see David Lopan come in as the little old man with an amazing old age makeup. It's just
and I mean, it's as good as Dick Smith's work.
Honestly, and I don't know if Steve Johnson did this makeup. Probably he did. I think Steve Johnson pretty much managed all the practical and makeup effects on this, because this wasn't a big budget movie. It was big enough budget, but they had to do a lot with a little. And
is the video stopped for everybody else?
It's stopped. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's paused.
Yeah, but it's not though.
No, it says that it's running, but it's frozen.
You might need to restart it.
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
Sorry, Chris.
The amazing thing about this, though, is that they did this really impressive old age makeup on him. And then on top of that, they created a dummy that's a puppet that they could light from the inside for the scene where he transforms.
Oh, yeah.
The spirit version.
And it's perfect.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect. It's just, he's sitting there, and they've even, I don't know if they worked with him, like his kind of shaky old man mannerisms, but they made the puppet do the exact same thing, and it kind of tilts its head up, and they light it from the inside, and then they do the optical lighting effects for the transformation.
In fact, when I saw that in the theater, because I saw this movie in the theater, Red Shirt,
rub it in.
I thought, how did they do that effect? I was like, because I thought that was still him, and they were doing some sort of visual effect over the head, but no, it was a prosthetic head, and it's like, holy shit, that was incredible.
Yeah, there's some really clever stuff here.
Yes, yeah, the practical effects in this are really pretty amazing. There's some excellent stuff in terms of practical effects. Okay. This was, this is after Star Wars. Star Wars had brought out Industrial Light and Magic, made them famous with optical printing and the computer motion controlled cameras and all of that stuff, which, was a game changer. And of course, nowadays we all complain a lot of us talking about more modern movies complain, I wish they'd go back to practical effects because they're just relying too much on CGI stuff. This movie, for its budget, is amazing for its effects.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. And I know these days you just can't go back fully to practical effects, but I think to myself, why not? A little bit of cleanup here and there. The temptation to go in digitally and start messing around with things is always present, and that's what happens. But you look back at movies like this, or RoboCop, Total Recall, Starship Troopers did go digital, but there were Aliens. All these movies had pretty flawless stuff because part of it was that we weren't in a high definition era as well. So the film grain and the resolution could be part of the magic trick. These days, everything's so high definition that you need
to perfection all the time. Back in the day. By the way, this is the graphic I was telling you about. Okay, it's working now. What happened there, Martin?
Oh, I don't know. It didn't let me to upload a video or anything, so I had to.
And only 2 green eyes now, Mr. Studio Head.
Tell me he doesn't look like David Lopan. Jesus Christ.
Yes, he does.
Oh, he does.
He doesn't look like David Lopan or Jesus Christ.
I think one of the funniest things I ever heard about him was from I just forgot her name from Halloween, when
Jamie
she
Lee
said
Curtis?
that she was invited to his house to go over some stuff, and she wouldn't go because she was terrified of him. He looked scary to her.
Which David Lopan? Little basket case on wheels or 10-foot tall roadblock?
No, right? Yeah.
What was the
Also, he says a great line now I used to hear from my dad all the time. This pisses me off to no end. I love that line.
See this here? This pisses me off to no end.
Do we have any clips, Gerry?
That or
what, hun?
Do we have any clips? Because I gave you a timestamp for that one. This pisses me off.
No. No.
Just to answer the question of what the budget was for Big Trouble in Little China, it's estimated between 19 and 25 million. That's kind of a broad spectrum.
Not including marketing, right?
Yeah.
I always heard 22 million. That's what I always heard.
And then the box office was only 11 million. So bummer. I'm sure it did make its money back.
It made all of its money back. Yes, it did.
Yeah. Well, this would be a good time then to point out that I really for a long time thought this movie suffered at the box office for the same reason as The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride, the studio, according to everybody I've heard interviewed, the studio simply didn't know what kind of a movie they should market. Is it a fairy tale? Is it a parody? Is it a satire? Is it a comedy? What the hell is this thing? And as a result, they didn't really market it very effectively at all. So it died in the theaters and it had to come in big. It got bigger and bigger and bigger on home video. I thought that was the case with this movie because, again, it's a whole lot of different types of movies sort of jammed together. The Western, the Hong Kong Kung Fu movie, all of these other elements that they brought in. But that's not the case. According to Kurt Russell in the interview that I've heard, they did the screening. The studio head said, as I said earlier, this Jack Burton guy doesn't seem very good at what he does. And they hate it. And he hated that. And he says, and I know I will not name any names and I don't want to give out any information that John Carpenter hasn't already released publicly because that's not my place. He says, but I know for a fact, because I know a guy who was in the room when the decision was made and this movie got buried. It was a conscious decision on a part of the studio to simply make this movie go away as quickly as possible.
I remember Kurt Russell saying he was on the red carpet for this movie, and some, journalist said, like, how's it feel to be, you're going to be the star of the #1 hit movie of the summer. And he was just like,
yeah, I know the look on his face. I saw that interview.
He's like,
you tell me. You tell me, because I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Because it's almost like sarcastic. I thought it was almost sarcastic the way he said the hit of the. It's like, wait, who is he talking to? They're like messing around.
Well, didn't this get good feedback in the test screenings they did, though? I remember that.
I don't know. I don't remember. This is the thing, though. You talk about studios not knowing how to market a movie, and this is a problem that's snowballed over the years because as an independent filmmaker, I became an independent filmmaker because anytime I would start to shop around any ideas to the people that I knew in the industry, they go like, oh, I know what the marketing people are going to say. They're going to say, we don't know how to market this. And it's gotten to the point that the marketing departments have gotten so used to saying that about anything that isn't obvious. They've gotten lazy, but the studios make decisions based on that. Like, oh, what's the marketing? What are our marketing people going to think about this? To the point where they've essentially like have their approved, like, oh, just make these kind of movies because this is all we know how to market. They don't understand how to, there's nobody that understands anymore how to look at something special and come up with a strategy to communicate to the audience why they should be excited about the movie. And unfortunately, it's why we don't get very original movies anymore. It's all sequels, prequels, and derivatives. So, you know, that's whenever I hear about that, I don't know how we'd sell this. It's like you don't even want to try. Nobody wants to take the risk anymore.
Well, Christopher, you know, I always put it, it's not that there aren't people who are willing to make these types of movies anymore. It's that who's going to greenlight them? That's the issue we got now.
Well, in a world too where they, you know, the only method they know now to make a movie like this is to throw tons of money at it. They don't know how to hire the right people. You know, I mean, sometimes the right people will find their way to the movie, but it's not something that it used to be, that there were a lot of executives and producers that would work together that came out of the industry before. So they understood what they needed. You know, now they're all Silicon Valley people and executives, where, you know, before, what was it? There was the studio head that brought John Woo to America. She was I forget her name, but she was an actress before she became an executive. And she had a meeting with all her people. She sat them down. She's like, look, I'm only going to have one note for this movie. Don't give John Woo any notes, because we hired him because we want a John Woo movie. And, you know, and that's what's missing these days. And again, nobody in the West knew how to market a John Woo movie, but they just knew it was going to kick ass. And, you know, on that strength, they took the chance. And then that started kind of a new approach to action movies that went on. I don't know. I think we're still feeling the influence today. But
yeah,
anyway.
I think Hollywood, I think you touched on it, in mentioning Silicon Valley. You know, I think Hollywood has been corporatized to the point where the people in charge are not fans of movies. Whereas, you know, back in the, I mean, even in the bad old days of the worst treatment of employees and actors and everything during the studio system, you still had people who wanted to make good movies. They wanted to entertain people because that would get people to their theaters, not the competitors' theaters. So the competition was still there. And a guy like Louis V. Mayer would be looking for the right people to put on a project, because he'd want everybody to go to the MGM theater to watch his movie, not the Warner Brothers theater to watch the Warner Brothers movie. And the problem is that when independent filmmakers, and I'm not blaming independent filmmakers for this, in the sense that Hollywood could afford not to care as much about the creative process. Would you agree with that? So studios stopped being, you know, bastions of creative movie making, and simply became, you know, funding for projects and then marketing and distribution. Well, you need MBAs and accountants to do that. You don't need creative people. And unfortunately, what that leads to, it seems to me, is what you were talking about, that they don't know how to market these movies anymore, because they're all on a low risk strategy. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's even these days, you know, I talk to a lot of younger independent filmmakers, and you mention movies like this, and they go, oh, what's that? And it's like, don't you even know the history of what you're doing? It's like they're basing their decisions on, you know, I think that there's a saying in Hollywood these days: if you're pitching a movie and you're going to compare it to another movie, don't compare it to anything more than 5 years old, because their memories, their knowledge of cinema literally goes back just about that far, and that's it. As opposed to, what Frank Zappa once said. He said it used to be, it's like, yeah, there'd be like a guy chomping on a cigar, going like, listening to the music going, I don't get it, but the kids like it and you guys get it. So go do what you need to, because it would sell. Now you get all these people that they don't even care about movies. They're like, oh, it's show business. It's like, yeah, it's show business, but the product is still show. And if you don't have a good product, the business isn't going anywhere. That they've kind of brought it out of balance. But anyway, we digress. We got like a whole like kung fu scene going on here. And by the way, they get attacked by girl boss guards and beat the shit out of them.
Yes.
Because they understood back then that women do not have the same upper body strength as men.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
But you could call this a commentary on human trafficking as well. Something Hollywood doesn't want to address anymore.
No. That's verboten.
Yeah. But yeah, the idea that this, like Jack Burton, and we missed the line. First time you ever plugged somebody? Of course not.
No. Of course not.
Yeah. But
yeah,
there was so
this
much.
Whole operation is just so weird.
It's surreal. It's very dreamlike. Yes. And there's even, was it the friend? I forget what her name is. Margot, was that it? She says like, this is just some surreal Alice in Wonderland.
I can't pause it.
Well, yeah, it is a bit of a rabbit hole because you have the storefront.
Yeah.
Then you have the warehouse and all the cages with women in them. And then you have then you have 2 levels below that in the sub basement or whatever. You've got David Lopan and all this crazy stuff going on. And it's just actually Alice in Wonderland, down the rabbit holes is just, to me, rang a bell. It was like, yeah, that's kind of a rabbit hole. And the deeper they go, the weirder it gets.
And it's just fine.
Hold on a second, man. He's not pausing it, so I got to jump in here.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite scenes with Jack when he kisses her. Sorry, I'm just happy to be alive.
I like before, like when they're going through the tunnel, it's like, will you stop rubbing your body up against mine because it's kind of distracting.
I know. It's great fucking dialogue in this thing.
Yes.
Wait.
Hey, it's mine HD.
It's
Luke
frozen.
Kang was inspired by, if you ever see Riccio, the story of Ricky, it's like 1 for 1. That guy.
Story of Ricky Bobby?
No, Riccio.
Mortal Kombat, the influence for Liu Kang was Ricky.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
What our movie did we have to reboot again?
Yes.
There's a good interview on YouTube with the dude who plays Thunder. It's in Chinese, but the English subtitles. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Skipping back through it.
Yeah. I've actually said that myself.
I don't want to mess with
while
with
we're
the
getting
play.
there, just about with about 15-20 minutes left to go in the movie, the Jack and what's her name?
Diane.
No, the Gracie.
Gracie Law.
Yeah, the lawyer. They finally get a proper, real, passionate kiss, and when they pull away, Jack's lips are all smeared with her lipstick. And Kurt Russell said, when we finished the scene, John yelled cut. The makeup person came in and was trying to wipe the lipstick off of my mouth. And he said, I suddenly said to John, I said, John, wait a minute, hold it. Jack wouldn't take the lipstick off. He wouldn't wipe it off because he wouldn't know, basically because he wouldn't know it was there. There were no mirrors in the dungeon. So he would wear the lipstick for the whole rest of the film until he saw himself. And John's like, for the whole thing? He's like, yeah. So they did it. John said, all right, let's go with that. And that's why he's got Grace's lipstick smeared all over his mouth all the way through the climax of the movie. Because it was that was Kurt Russell's contribution. He says, no, I wouldn't have wiped it off. He just would have kissed her and kept going.
Yeah, that was we laughed the first time we saw that too, because it made sense. Because how many times has the hero kissed the girl and not had any on it?
Lipstick,
so the fact that,
exactly,
right, and the reveal that they're kissing and then the door opens and he like looks out.
Yeah, it's like when the door opens and then you see him step out with the red. It just I remember laughing so fucking hard in the theater with that.
I just love that. He's like looking her up and down. He's like, don't worry, I took a potion.
Now here, this is great because she grabs each person as they're coming through the pipe. Like, did you see so-and-so? Did you see so-and-so? Till finally she's like, Jack Burton. Then he shows up. And they hug and kiss. And she said, hey. So I'm just thrilled to be alive.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Yes, the score is great. Sad I missed out on the vinyl reissue of the Mondo a couple years back. Let me get back to these because I got a bunch of them to go through. Let's see. The music score by Carpenter feels like a Chinese martial arts movie. I especially love the rock and roll theme. Absolutely. I love John Carpenter's music. If you guys ever watch the deleted scenes, one of them provides an explanation between the character of Gracie Law and the girl Tara. I'm not sure who that is.
Tara's the girl that at the airport. At the airport that she's waiting to pick up.
Right. There was talk about a remake. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I'll read it then. There was talk about a remake, which is kind of hoping for to begin with, but after years of bad movies, I'm glad this exists and it's in its entirety. I totally agree with this. Okay, Gary, I know your stance on this, but I'm a huge Aliens fan. Aliens. I didn't need any sequels after that. We
no more.
Didn't need
after that, no more.
There's lightning in a bottle, and the more and usually when people say lightning in a bottle, it's because somebody has managed to distill down and concentrate the essence of what makes stories like this good. And it's so difficult to do. It takes real talent to do. And then
what
when
is
you
it
try
with you in the word essence
of,
it just sounds perverse when you say it. I don't know why.
It's what comes out of us saying it. It's what comes out of a still, Gary.
It's but anyway, it's but essence is important because the more sequels you do, you get people going, well, where do we take this next? And what are you doing when you're asking that question? You're diluting it. You're diluting what made it special to begin with. So, it's like, The Rock, could you imagine The Rock being Jack Burton? It wouldn't work because The Rock is always The Rock. Sometimes that's fine for some of the movies he does, but it's just ultimately he's The Rock. Kurt Russell, being Jack Burton, which is he worked on that character, like you said, Jack Nicholson and John Wayne, and you can totally see that. But he's also versatile enough where he can just like walk in as Henry Swanson as well, and you totally buy that character, and it's and it's a lot of fun. But this and this again is a movie of its time as well.
Yeah, very much so. It's an 80s film.
My favorite example of lightning in a bottle is Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was more than that movie ever should have been. It worked perfectly. And people like to say, well, Ghostbusters 2 is not a good movie. I'm like, actually, Ghostbusters 2 is a very good movie. It's just not Ghostbusters 1.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 1 just makes anything they made afterwards.
I'll tell you my main complaint about Ghostbusters 2, but I got to get to these, is the fact that Dan Aykroyd is fixated with the animated series. And he brought shit from the cartoon into the movie. and that bugged a lot of us. Okay, so Read by Nature, there was a comic, I think, that acts as a sequel. Yes, it was. Actually, it's more than that. There was the same thing with Buckaroo Banzai. They both had comic book sequels. On top of that, there was a crossover with Jack Burton and Snake Plissken in the comics. So go look for that.
Big Trouble in Little China is more Escape from LA than New York, though.
Right. Old Jack Burton doing Egg Shin character. I love Egg Shin's character. He's such a great character. And by the way, I have a clip that played earlier that I wanted to play. I love this scene and I love this line. It's absolutely my number one favorite line from the film.
You will come out no more. What? Huh? What'll come out no more?
Yeah, that's a favorite of mine too.
Won't come back anymore.
Follow the leader. 1, 2, 3. We may be trapped.
The Chinese gong sound effect was so fucking funny.
Anyway. Going down into that underground land, it's like, what is this? Black blood of the earth? You mean oil? No, I mean black blood of the earth. Yeah, that was great. That reaction, though, why don't come out no more? It's like, yeah, that's pretty much what we would all do.
Wait a minute, the Asian chick was in Penthouse? Okay, all right.
We'll need to research that further.
And she's this chick here that played the reporter. She's a character that just, I don't think she gets any love with this movie. And I thought she was really good in this role. She had I don't know her from Adam. I don't know what she did after this. This guy spoke no English.
You pay your contract.
Everything he said in English. Everything he was taught to phonetically pronounce. It's the same thing with actor Toshiro Mifune, who spoke no English. Anytime he was in an American film, he was taught to say his lines. He had no idea what he was saying. It was just gibberish to him. Let's see. Read by Nature. Hong was criminally underused in R.I.P.D. First of all, the film was underused. So I wish that film had been better. I enjoyed it, but anyway. Anyone named Wang Hung Lo in this film?
Oh, God, too.
Oh,
He has to.
That hurts.
You may not know, but Clueless is based on Shakespeare. Hey, guys, Evie Muck screwed up. Again, like I said, Mephisto, no worries, my friend. Let's see. Hell yes, this movie is so underrated. Absolutely. Hey, it's mine, HD. Welcome to the channel.
I wouldn't know if it's underrated. Everyone I know absolutely loves it. I think it's just there's not as many people aware of it as we would like, but it's everyone loves it.
It's underknown. Doesn't the 10-foot guy have a different name and the David Lopan in his little old man name? No, it's all David Lopan.
Yeah.
Fu Manchu. Absolutely. There's no question that David Lopan is reminiscent of Fu Manchu.
Okay.
If I remember right, that they were afraid of a Fu Manchu situation. There was actually some blowback against the movie because they thought that was gonna be in there, Fu Manchu.
Yep. Lopan, which one? The old geezer on wheels or the huge roadblock?
Afraid? Are you kidding?
My bros bought a Balisong knife because we saw it in these. Yeah. People miss the point that Jack Burton is the bumbling sidekick rather than the hero. Yeah. And that's kind of really what he is. He's not the real hero. That, Kevin Dunn's character is the hero of the story.
Jack is there for comedy relief, I think, to make it fun.
Yeah. The martial arts that they do, these characters, they were basically said, this is point A, this is where you need to go. What you do in between is up to you. And so they did their own performances here, did their own choreography.
And it was awesome.
Some of it's a bit weird for me. But it's cool that they let them improvise.
Oh, absolutely. He's also Samuel Clemens on Star Trek Next Generation.
Yep.
Very good actor back in the day.
I love that line. Many normal people were killed. Like, wait a second. So then unnormal people weren't?
Many unnatural people run free.
Yeah, here's that scene with the demon. Looks like a grasshopper or something pops out of the fucking hole.
What a great set, too. Just fun with the dry ice. Very camp, but very cool.
Everything. All the sets in this are fantastic, including the great marriage ceremony room with the neon and the Buddha and just all of that shit. I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, it's funny that they have an escalator.
I know, right?
That's my favorite set, though. It's so cool.
It ended up being used in something else, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, you're right.
He used it. Seems like it was something to do with Madonna. I can't remember.
They have tamed the bunny blade.
I shall marry both women.
I kill one, I keep the other. It's like, what the fuck?
The best of both worlds.
There's so much strange stuff happening. It's just like, yeah, okay, you're gonna grab the blade, you're gonna float up to the roof, and you're gonna touch the vase.
And yet your weight doesn't cut your fingers.
I've seen those in Chinese restaurants. I have the power.
I think it's more like the He-Man version.
No.
I have
the
the power.
In the name of Grayskull. That's who it was. Janet Jackson. Thank you, Max. Thank you. I knew it was used in a music video, and I couldn't remember who it was. Janet
in the
Jackson.
alley. Was that Rhythm Nation, I wonder?
This movie also reminds me a lot of the old pulps. Like, this is a very pulp movie.
Yeah, it's done like the high adventure B movies from the 40s. You'd see this shit in cereals at the time, and I don't mean like breakfast cereal. I mean,
well, yeah, no, like
serialized
David Lopan would fit perfectly in the old Shadow novels they do back in the day.
I never understood what was going on in this scene. It's kind of, I mean, it's a cool scene just to see their eyes wide out and everything, but
I was confused by it because she woke up.
She woke up, yeah.
And then she's all of a sudden back in the spell, and I went, "Oh, what happened?"
Yeah, there was really no point to this scene. Again, it was cool. I'm not complaining about it. I don't think it should be cut or anything, but it's kind of superfluous. It's just like, yeah, we're going to, like, all this random stuff happens.
Tell you anything. It doesn't give you anything. Yeah, it's just one of those scenes. It's there.
Yeah, and later on, their eyes aren't whited out when he marries them. It's just you land in a big pile of fish. One of the guys eating it offers it to him later.
Absolutely. This was after this film. He still did one more studio film, Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Yeah, which was terrible.
But he was done. He didn't want to work with him anymore.
He also, I was just going to say, my people I know in the industry that have worked with him after the fact just said, like, he had good stuff come his way, but he just was so into getting high and playing video games all day like a teenager. He just, like, kind of let things slip and ended up doing dumb shit like Ghosts of Mars.
Oh my God, I hate that fucking movie so much.
Oh, yeah, wasn't it like a Ray Bradbury
Don't you
movie?
appreciate the genius in that movie?
There was a Ray Bradbury movie in the works, but it got sidelined. Yeah.
I had a friend on Facebook that said, "Gerry, you need to go back. I know you've panned that film, but you need to go back because it's been 15 years since I've seen it. I went back, watched Ghosts of Mars. I had a totally different reaction to it. I said, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, totally." I said, "Is it worth our friendship?" He goes, "Oh, you say things like that. You don't mean it." Yeah, go watch it, man. It's totally different. I went and I watched it, and I wrote him back. I said, "I'm blocking you now, just so you know in advance, so you're not surprised that I'm no longer there for you to read, because that pissed me off that you convinced me to fucking watch this movie again."
It was so
It's usually the other way around. You remember watching something when you were younger and absolutely loving it, and then you rewatch
that's
it
as a
20 years
kid.
later and you're like,
No, that's true. As a kid, movies that I loved as a kid, I'm cautious of watching ever again, because I made the mistake of watching that Goldie Hawn Chevy Chase film where he's a cop and she's being chased by a murderer, and it was, his first movie, and it was also the introduction of what's his name, Arthur, Little Dudley Moore, his first movie in America, and I saw that film as a kid and I just loved it. Went to the movie with my dad. Years later, I went to watch it again as an adult, and I went, "That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Why did I like that film? Oh my God, that movie is ruined for me now." So I
did enjoy Vampires, though. It wasn't a very good movie, but it was entertaining the way that James Woods went about his character.
I enjoy Vampires up to about the end of the first act. When they kill all of his
There you
guys,
go.
that's when the movie goes off the rails.
It went off the rails for me. It's the same thing. I had the same problem. It's just I lost interest in the film after that. I finished it, mind you, and I enjoyed Woods in it. I enjoyed the little priest actor guy. It was funny, but I didn't like the movie after his team got murdered, and I'm like, it's just not that.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't a very good movie, but it was a fun vehicle for James Woods, and he really wanted to make that movie work. But again, John Carpenter, was it this talk of him doing a Thing sequel, and I'm like, I just don't need it. I'm fine with having The Thing.
We never wanted a sequel. The movie ended perfectly.
It did, exactly. You don't need to, have it. Well, it's just like there was going to be a Total Recall sequel, which would have completely annihilated the conversation.
The whole point of, it's like it was an ambiguous ending. It faded to white, not black.
By the way, my buddy over at Represent This has just did a great 3-part series on Total Recall, so I want to plug that. Really good. His channel is excellent if you haven't checked that out yet. But yeah, the whole idea behind Total Recall is that there are clues that tell you he's dreaming, and there are clues that tell you that he's actually doing this stuff, and they contradict each other. There's no way to settle an argument on that, because there are things in that movie for both. And just like John Carpenter's The Thing, it's so interesting. John Carpenter has said, like, I know all the events, like I know who sabotaged the blood, I know who did all this, but he's never going to tell because it's so intricate. There's different ways of looking at it. I love this potion drinking scene. Again, we talked about the here's to the armies and the navies and the wars that they've won.
Here's to the Army and the Navy and the battles that they have won. Here's to America's colors, the colors that never run. May the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Yeah, and this elevator scene is great too, where they're all feeling the effects of it. Like, you feel pretty good.
Then feel
kind of
pretty
invincible.
And then all of a sudden he gets awkward. He goes, "Is it me or is it
hot in here?"
I don't know why people have issues with ambiguous endings. If it's done intentionally, it's great.
If it's done well, though, there are a lot of people that do ambiguous endings that are just like, you're not trying
They're
to be
just being lazy.
Yeah, you just didn't know how to end this. So, it's very. I was just going to say, like with the Quantum Terror, I did an ambiguous ending, but I was very hesitant. There was a couple of extra scenes that I shot that kind of like spelled it out a bit more, but I really hated those. It's very nerve-wracking doing that. Oh, I guess I was wrong. I guess they did have the white eyes. But But what a great shot. I love how that's framed. Let him complete the ceremony, then he's ours.
I like the way in which Lopan giggles.
He giggles and gets excited. It's funny.
I love when he's like basically playing a video game when he's fighting Eggshell.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's had like a game controller.
There's that creature, that eye creature. Again, that we didn't see that scene, but I just love that when you turn around and see it follow him, and he's like, "Oh no, what is that?"
Don't tell me.
I love this. He knocks himself unconscious right there.
Yeah, by shooting
the
gun into the air.
And they fall on his.
That was in his interview. He and John were talking about how do we keep Jack Burton out of most of this fight scene because he's not going to be able to do the kung fu stuff, and all he could do is shoot people. We don't want to do that. We want the whole scene to play out. And Carpenter is racking his brains, and it was Kurt Russell who said, "Well, why does he just get overly excited before the fight starts, shoot the submachine gun into the air over his head, and blow up and just destroy some of the arch or ceiling he's standing under, and the falling debris can knock him out?" And Carpenter goes, "That would work. We'd be able to get him through about half of the fight scene that way."
And then he stabs the other guy, and he's trapped underneath him. Yeah,
it's trapped underneath him, and he's stuck under there for a while.
That's by the way, I love listening to the commentaries, even like Kurt Russell doing the commentary to The Thing. You know, it's this somber, very.
First of all, the commentary on Escape from New York, The Thing, and Big Trouble in Little China are some of the best commentaries you'll ever hear.
Yeah, and Kurt Russell is like busting up through all of them because he's just having such a good time.
He's so much fun. I mean, when he starts talking about Wilford Brimley, he just starts giggling, like a schoolboy, just giggling. He says, and when he starts manhandling that thing on the table, because he's an old cowboy, he relished that and had so much fun with that scene and just laughing, talking about it. By the way, Max said Gerry hates foul play. That's the movie. And I don't hate it, but it was nowhere near as good as it was when I saw it as a kid, as an adult. I learned a lesson. Don't watch movies I loved when I was a kid. Because it might get ruined. Ruined, Brian. Ruined.
That's why I'm holding off on Adventures from the Forbidden Zone. Was it Molly Ringwald and Michael Ironside?
Now I still enjoy that film.
Is it good?
Actually,
I haven't rewatched it since I was a kid, so I'm worried that it won't.
Pirates was great, or Ice Pirates.
Ice Pirates, yeah,
with the fucking space herpes. I'm like, God damn those movies. But yeah, Space Hunter had great villain in it, the Overdog, and that, of course, is the name of my buddy's band, the Overdogs.
Oh, nice.
And it was a punk band.
All right, gentlemen, I got to run. I've already stayed longer than I intended to. Got lots of work to do, but
the show's almost over.
I know, but
have fun.
I got to go. Thank you for having me on. As always, lots of fun. Love this movie. And see you next Tuesday.
Take care.
He just called me a cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you are.
But
that son of a bitch called me a cunt.
It's not always about you, Gerry. I think he meant all of us.
Maybe
he really did just want to see us on Tuesday.
Maybe he just wanted to see us.
Well, the funny thing is, Tuesday used to be his show when he was still a host on this channel. He had the Tuesday show.
I love this where they're I fucking love it. This is what leads to the kiss scene in the elevator. What is that you're wearing? And the way he's looking at her, it's like, I drank something. It makes me see things in a different way.
Now we blow up the sets because it's awesome to blow up the sets.
It's always cool to blow up things.
It started, by the way, Hey, It's Mine HD. It started with laser discs. we started getting commentary on those. In
think
fact, the commentary from The Thing, as well as Blade Runner, was from the first commentaries, were from the Laserdisc first.
I think it's me in HD.
One of the craziest, like, it was a movie that did not deserve its special features, in my opinion, was Street Fighter. Like, that thing.
All right,
had,
here it is.
Like,
here it is. Sorry, I'm
Yep,
not
go
missing these fucking moments because I can't pause it. The lipstick.
Yes.
So go ahead, Street Fighter.
Has the most ridiculous like amount of special features. Like, has commercials for every bit of merchandise from the movie, music videos, behind the scenes making of, multiple commentary tracks from actors, everything else. I'm like, why does this movie have so many good special features? It's Street Fighter. It did not deserve this.
By the way, Kurt Russell almost single-handedly brought back the mullet, and thankfully it ended very quickly.
Didn't like either Sutherland say he might be to blame because of the Lost Boys? Because it was
Lost Boys in this movie. Here it is. Fuck.
Yeah.
And the best part of this, when he throws the knife, he threw it wrong, and it lands flat against the gong, meaning he didn't throw it correctly. And he's like, "Oh, God damn it!" And he grabs her and puts her behind him to protect her. And he throws it, and he catches it midair and throws it, and that's the payoff for the line earlier in the film. It's all in the reflexes.
Yep.
Nails him right in the fucking forehead.
And it's a great villain death because as soon as the villain dies, for some reason, the place they're in just starts to fall apart.
Yep.
That's
It's all
because
in
his
the
magic
reflexes.
is gone too. The moment he dies, the magic is gone and the place is not being held together anymore.
Hey, it's me in HD, even though I want to say, hey, it's mine. This
Animes
has been a delight. It has been a delight, definitely subbing and coming back. We're glad to have you, man. It's good to see you again. And thanks for
Welcome to
dropping
the
in.
channel. And Matinee, my language center has checked out already. Don't worry. I check it before, otherwise I'll get a headache.
I don't think he's going to stop.
This and Riccio have the best exploding body scenes in
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
This thing is
Meaning of Life has a great exploding body too.
Oh God, yes. Wafer thin.
It's just a wafer thin mint. Bon appetit. Takes off running.
I do love this effect when the wooden thing like falls down behind him. It's all like burning on fire.
Well, this whole scene with him, he's releasing all this energy out of rage, I love all of this. Come on, Jack. He barely gets away, almost gets nicked in the ass by the lightning. And then they drop one of the Buddhas on his head.
Jump. He jumped all the heights of that corridor.
I love this little device, even though nothing like that existed. It was fucking cool.
Oh, that's like pure comic book.
Absolutely. And the arc lightning in this is done so well. It doesn't look overly cartoony.
No, yeah.
And I mean, that's the 80s. It's amazing what they were able to do with that.
Because wasn't ILM involved with some of the visual effects on this? Because like they did the effect over the building, which was very similar to the Ghostbusters effect.
I think a bit. I forget how they split things out because this was like they did this very fast, if I remember right, because they wanted to beat the Golden Child at the theaters.
My truck. Let me take a look at this real quick. Visual effects, optical. No, I don't see. Nope. I am not seeing ILM.
Yeah.
They were the go-to place if you wanted to do optical matte
I
printing.
stand corrected. They were involved because Richard Edlund was visual effects producer on this, but he had stepped away. He wasn't with ILM anymore. It was the other company that he had worked for or created that worked on movies like Ghostbusters and Fright Night.
Well, yeah, the exploding was it whorehouse in the middle of the movie definitely feels like a Ghostbusters effect.
Yeah, it's got that glow on top.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a great scene. Everybody's just talking, having a good time, and Jack Burton's about to leave, and Egg Shin takes a hit off his bong, heads over, say something to him. Lopan is dead, and the evil spell has been lifted. I'm going to head to New Mexico and buy a store where a bunch of monsters will be and trimmers. And I said, the failure of that theory is that he doesn't use any magic.
Right.
Yeah.
I just love that those two start a relationship out of nowhere. It's just like one of the subplots in the background of the entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
crazy value.
Sell my truck, settle down, get a bigger truck. Sooner or later, I rub everybody the wrong way. And I have said that on multiple occasions in my life because it's true.
I mean, you've rubbed me the wrong way multiple times. I keep telling you to stop rubbing me, damn it.
Stop rubbing me. She's so gorgeous. They got the soft lens on her. Aren't you going to give her a kiss goodbye? Nope.
Yeah, but the dude gets a hug, and he doesn't even look at her, really. I don't like that.
I mean, if you're doing the action thing, then you could say that she's a time-traveling Vulcan who then becomes a renegade to the Federation.
Right.
This is the point where Kurt said that Jack Burton finally gets what's happened when he says, "We really shook the pillars of heaven, didn't we, Wang?" And he says, "No horse shit, Jack. No horse shit." So he's finally got it. Now he's back at his truck talking to the airwaves again. Don't know if there's anybody listening.
But there is somebody listening.
Yeah,
it's
there is.
Ancient Chinese demon.
Yep.
At least it's not his ex-wife.
That's right.
It can always be worse.
Yep. Show me your worst.
Yeah, I love James Wong is in Kung Fu Panda. He is fantastic as a voice actor in that.
He's been in so many great films. I mean, he was in one of my favorite neo-noir films, Chinatown.
Yep, he's in the Two Jakes too.
Well, it's the same character, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything he's in, he's always fun. He was in that weird Art of War with Blade. His name.
Wesley Snipes.
Snipes.
And God, he's in so many films. In fact, he was in that film when I knew him. And I brought up the fact, it's a pretty good film. Do you enjoy that shoot? Yes, had it. That guy's still working, man. He's old.
How old is he?
Like
he loves movies. As far as I can tell, he genuinely loves cinema, which is why he's stuck with it.
Well, he's been around for a long time. First thing I ever saw him in was an episode of Perry Mason.
Yeah.
He played the lawyer for a Hong Kong jewelry merchant. Perry fucking Mason. Black and white TV, man. So, but anyway, man, we had a good audience today. It's good seeing everybody. And yes, he is a legend. I agree with you. Hey, it's me in HD. Still want to say, hey, it's mine, like German, MEIN.
Well, you better get used to the name because that's a new member now of our channel.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, it's
wow.
You're lucky if you do anything.
No.
Like
I've just looked him up on IMDb. James Hong's first credited role, the first role in IMDb, is in a movie dated 1945.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's 79 years ago.
If I recall, was it one of the commentaries Carpenter brought up that he originally started with, like, I think it was blackface in comedy. Like, that's how long ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been around for literally through multiple eras of Hollywood. Just stayed working.
He was in 2 episodes of Mike Tyson's Mysteries. I love that show. That show should have never been canceled. Mike Tyson was given to this world for 2 things: beating the fucking shit out of people and making that cartoon.
Wow, this is incredible to me, because I mean, I look at, you know, what I consider to be prolific actors that got 150 movie credits and television credits or something like that. James Hong has 461 credits on IMDb, with 3 upcoming, with 3 yet to be released.
God bless
Holy
him, man.
cow.
I hope he is, dies doing what he loves to do, man. That's some good shit. I actually just saw the episode he did of the FBI, a TV series I watched when I was a kid. He was in season 1, episode 32, The Hiding Place. And I enjoyed that episode. I just watched that 2 days ago. Let's see. Let's go back to the beginning of his career. Let's look at some of the shit he did. Genghis Khan, the Story of a Lifetime, 1945. Doesn't say what he played. Let's see. He was in the Dragonfly Squadron in 53. He played a South Korean pilot trainee. The Shanghai Story. He played a driver. Let's see. He was doing a lot of good parts. God, he's the 5th brother, uncredited in the movie Love is a Many Splendored Thing. Blood Alley, another anti-communist film. Oh my God, he was in the TV series Sky King. If you've never seen that, it's like the goofiest show. Let's see. Uncredited, he is a voice in Godzilla King of the Monsters, 1956, which is the American release of the Japanese film. Back then, they were doing all that all the way up in the 2000s, casting Chinese people as Japanese, Japanese people as Chinese. It was really weird.
They didn't care back
getting
then.
a little better at that. Oh my God, he was in Battle Hymn, 1957. Oh man. Dragnet, he was in an episode of the second series, 1958. A lot of people don't know there were 3 series. There was the 1952 series, the 58 series, and then the 68 series. Yeah, Cimarron City TV series. Peter Gunn. Oh my God, Steve Canyon. I always thought that was like a comic strip. Bat Masterson, Zorro. Let's see when he gets into some serious roles here. Nope, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. Nope. 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 It looks like we're already into the 60s. And he did 2 episodes of Perry Mason. I only remember seeing the one. He is in the movie The Satan Bug as Dr. Yang. Oh, no, that was a TV series, not the movie. He was in a 1966 monster film called Destination Inner Space. Oh, here it is. This is where I remember him, and he really is a good character in there. Despicable, but good character. The Sand Pebbles. Anybody on this panel know that movie?
I know of it. I haven't watched it yet.
Monday, Gerry. We did this.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that.
Just saying.
I know.
I remember the film. I'm just blanking on him being in it.
Yeah, he's the guy that runs the whores. The pimp.
Oh, okay.
It's his establishment that they work out of. So, but
Okay.
that's what he is. That was a big film for him. Let's see. He's in a lot of movies after this. He's in a movie that another friend of mine and I both like, Colossus, The Forbidden Project. He's in The Hawaiians, which is another great film. That's one of those 3-hour movies that has an intermission. Yeah. Got a lot of movies in the 70s. The Carey Treatment, Earth 2, Forgotten Man. Oh, man. I love James Hong, and I'm glad we still got him. So that's all I got to say about that. And here's a picture of James Hong today. There's James Hong. Such a dick. By the way, I wanted to show this because we are proud of the fact that we are not only over 13,000 subs, we have officially had over 450,000 views. So awesome sauce. We're going to keep pushing to do good content to entertain you guys and hopefully give you some information along with it, because Tom loves doing it. I love doing it. It's just one of the things, loving films is just one of the greatest things ever happening in movies. I love TV, but I love movies more. So anybody else got
I
any last
apologize for being so quiet today, but I think I might be able to make up for that. Did we just lose Gerry? Is that
no, I'm still here.
Did you guys hear me, or is it just me?
Yes,
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, basically I was going to share something with you guys if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I've been working on a project with Andre. It's a little ways away yet, but he's probably going to get mad at me for keep telling people about this, but I'm trying to get people's kind of gauging reactions on it too. So it's going to be kind of a Halloween project of sorts. There will be a retrospective to go along with it, but there's also these. You got a minute or two? There you go.
I'm all in.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yes, I'm trying to convince Andre to narrate the inner titles, not the narration or not the dialogue, but just the story titles. Otherwise, we're not going to mess with the movie itself. We are doing a new soundtrack though, and I'm going to add atmospherics to it. So that's kind of the Midnight Edge experience. Cool. Yeah, an original soundtrack by myself, basically. Yeah.
So what I've never asked him, what did he think of the 77 German remake?
I believe he likes it. He doesn't like the sequel, but he likes the original. Yeah.
I like this. Well, what he did, and this is of course Werner Herzog. He did shot simultaneously the American and German releases.
Yeah, but there was like a follow-up with the same star, but what's his face didn't have anything.
Yeah, I heard that was really bad.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. Yeah,
yeah, but that dude was insane, and one of the only directors that could really work with him was Werner Herzog, because he would threaten him right back. I'll fucking kill you.
You must never work with Kinski.
So that's fantastic, dude. When's it going to air?
Sometime before Halloween. We haven't had an exact date yet, but I'm sure there'll be more in the next 10, 15 days. You'll find out.
That's fucking fantastic.
I'm actually almost done putting the movie together. There's just a few other things we'll have to do to it, but yeah. So kind of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Absolutely. And Werner Herzog Nosferatu was partly filmed in my hometown. You need to get checked for vampires.
Yeah.
That town was infected.
Where was it filmed? What town is he talking about?
Yeah, where, Sander?
What's your hometown, Sander? Let us know.
You're asking him to dox himself.
Well, not give his fucking address.
I'm curious.
It's the town. I'm sure there's enough people there that, nobody will know exactly who he is. I mean, God, I hope there's enough people. Watch him live in a town with like 15 people.
That's not a town. That's not even a village.
That's an intersection.
Yeah, it's an intersection. So, did he say yet?
Nope.
Yeah.
You had a terrible time in the town. Kinski beat people up every single day. It was monstrous. But they had good chocolate chip cookies.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like vegetables that are being sold with, and it's not, they don't put the name of the vegetable on there. They put a quote by that sounds like something Werner Herzog would say about the vegetable. And what is the point? Because in the end, you just die.
This vegetable, it is surrounded by death. And then it dies as it is consumed by the animals that eat it. This includes man, who's the darkest animal of all.
Yeah, that's the sort of shit that Werner says. So again,
I would like to see the baby. Keep him away from the baby.
The baby. I want to thank Penny for being here. She was the first one on the show in the chat. Christian DeLorme, Snortapoopus was here. Hello. Just Another Red Shirt was here. Andy Morrow, he's on the fucking show. Oh, we need to stop listening to people that are on the panel. Fleischer Fred, Andy Morrow, Read by Nature, Jason Knight, good buddy of mine from Springfield, big horror fan. Dragon Ruse, Eastland Burkholder, JPR8PH1. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, I love it. But Matinee added to that. Yes, Gerry, that's a name.
Radioactive, Man Squatch, Parrot Head. David C. was here. Max Demon. And Max Demon, I want to thank you again for your contribution day. That was really wonderful, man. Thank you very much. FKHC 2005, also known as Tim. Jeff, is it Rober or Raber? Raber. Let's see. Hey, it's me in HD. Mephisto was here, of course. Good friend of ours. I'm surprised he didn't drop in with us. Sandra Hammerslag.
He said that it was too late.
He has an early morning tomorrow, and
Yeah.
he's even further ahead than I am.
I do like that guy. I really do. Peter Venkman's fan site, also known as Venkman's Girl. Darth Plato and Curtis Selby, we're here. And I want to again pop this up there real quick in comments. Let's get it up there. Boom. $50 gift indeed. Thank you so much. Just for one word, $50 a word is what you paid for that comment. That is so awesome. Thank you. And Tim, the cheap bastard, $1 didn't say anything. Not a goddamn thing. But he'll light up my fucking messenger tonight, which I enjoy, by the way. I like hearing from him and Andy Morrow. They send me some good stuff, memes, commentary, ideas. And I know that both of them like the idea that I will be doing on October 28th. We will be celebrating Military Monday, the 609th anniversary of the Battle of Agincourt, with our breakdown on Military Monday of Henry V. Or if you just read it literally, it's Henry V.
Latin numbers, man.
Latin numbers, Roman numerals. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate you guys being here. Great panel today. I appreciate it. Chris, thanks for popping in and joining us today. Tom, as always, thanks for being here. Even though this was not your cup of tea, I always enjoy your company.
Oh, I love the movie. I just don't know that much about it. That's all. It's really just a matter of I wish I had more to add to the conversation at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's great having you here no matter what. Always enjoy it.
Indeed.
Okay, if I could interject real quick about my first viewing of this film. It was at the late great Charlestown Square Mall Theater in North Charleston, South Carolina. The theater was right between an Orange Julius and a Walden Books. So I had my three great loves of life right next to each other. Pizza, movies, and books. So made it a pretty memorable experience.
He said the name of it. It's the home of where they make Cattrall One vodka. So where is that?
Schiedam,
I think.
Oh, there it is. It's Dutch. Okay. And it is, by the way, it's on water. And I thought that was interesting when you see the opening scene of the 1977 version of Nosferatu. And by the way, I really find it weird remaking Nosferatu because all Nosferatu was Dracula. And they tried to get away with not paying for the rights to it.
And they got sued and nearly had the movie destroyed forever.
Yeah, if it weren't for one or maybe a couple of other holdouts, there were I think they found three or four. Because Tom and I talked about this before, that they ended up finding more copies of the film survived the burning. And it seems to me that should be criminal to make them actually destroy something. That's a crime. To destroy art.
Yeah, I agree.
So fuck not Von Helsing, what's his name? The Irishman that wrote Dracula. Fuck his wife. Because she's the one who did it.
I believe that's
Rotterdam.
what Bram did.
What's that?
I said, I believe that's what Bram Stoker did.
Oh, at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did they have kilts? I don't know.
Hope.
Do you really hope for that? I don't hope for that.
I don't. The fuck do I know? I've never been married.
And Gary's like, you lucky bastard.
Hey, Tom, did you see my low pan picture?
No, I don't think I did. Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you sending that to me.
I don't know why. I have such a juvenile sense of humor. But anyway, that's it, guys. We're out of here. Have a great Saturday. Thanks for dropping in and hanging out with us. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks, Tom and I. I don't know what the fuck we're going to be doing, but we'll figure it out. It'll be something fun and big, awesome, amazing, and we'll bring the knowledge with us. So have fun, have a great Saturday, be safe, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. You guys want to say bye?
We got another one.
Yes. Thank you, Words and Pictures.
Oh, yes.
Well, thank you. I don't know what the sticker is. What is it?
I don't see
fist
it.
bump.
It's over on Deleted's channel.
Yeah, it's a
that's
fist
nice.
bump.
Thank you.
Joining us from the UK, Words and Pictures.
Is it a fist bump or is it fisting?
Jesus Christ.
Gary.
Time to go. Time to end the show.
Okay,
Let's
time to go.
stick
I'm
with
just
fist
saying.
bump, Gary.
It's
You
just
know
a
you
fist.
said you rub people the wrong
fist
way.
is a fist until it has motivation.
Gary, you know when you say rub people the wrong way? This is it.
This is it.
This is the moment.
All right. Duly noted. Fuck you, Shanatsky.